So the messaging matters, man. And I don't think enough people understand that is what's actually happening on the demo. You did everything right. You got all the stats. I got perfect. Let's walk through this. I have Seamless.ai leads. So I got direct contacts for everybody. Yep. And I got SalesLoft. So I can make my local dials and send all of my cadence emails.
Yep.
And I've got Zoom to record it, and I've got something to do it, and I get 100 CEOs on the phone. If I don't have the right tone, the right messaging, the right value prop, the right questions, and you have confidence to ask for it, it still doesn't matter. And that's the secret of the 1%, man, is like the messaging. How do you communicate with people? Because if you're writing shitty emails, it doesn't matter how many you send out. If you have a shitty script, it doesn't matter how many calls you make. If you have poor training, it doesn't matter how good the script is, because no one will fucking do it. There you go.
Yeah, dude, I love that. So what is, in your opinion, the sales secret that you've seen going from selling to every single industry under the sun, from snacks to fitness to Service Titan, a massive, cloud-based company, to Patient Pop? The sales secret is, in your opinion, what is that again?
Study people. Study
people. And the messaging, right?
And the messaging, right? You have to study people to know what the messaging needs to be, right? That's where it comes through, and understanding how people respond to things. Salespeople do shit that only salespeople do, and it's comical to me. Like, it's pure comedy. We say words that only salespeople say. Let me give you an example. Okay, that was one, by the way. Salespeople, all right. Let me give you an example. Let me ask you a question. Currently, how are you? Right? Like, good question. How much does it cost? Good question. Really? That's a fucking good question. Like, salespeople.
What does that even mean? Like, you and I talking right now, I'd be like, hey, Kevin, good job so far on the interview. Good. That was a good question. Like,
good question.
I've never said that to one of my friends before.
Right.
The thing I learned from Rothschild while I was there was how powerful a tool the telephone is, and also the startling reality of human nature that someone will send $1 million to someone they never met before on a phone call. I couldn't believe it when I saw it happen. I was like, this is crazy. These people are out of their minds. Like, you have some guy calling them up on the phone. Hey, Mr. Jones, cold. They don't. And then through a process, not just calling them and saying send me $1 million. No, that wouldn't work. But through this process of let me send you some information, call them back a week later, open them up on a $5,000 trade or $10,000 trade, call them back a few days later, schmooze call them back a week later, $50,000 before you know it, the guy sent you $10 million. How does that happen? If you would have told me that when I first heard it, I said, no, it's not true. I really did. I thought it was not true because I've been going door to door selling, and I was this amazing door to door salesman, and they fully understood, put me in front of someone, I'll close them. But what if I'm on the phone, they can't see me? How are they going to trust me? How do they know I'm for real? Right? That's how I thought when I was 21, 22. And then I heard the story about a kid I knew who I'd grown up with who was making $1 million a year, which is about probably $4 million now. And I started to investigate what does it mean to be a stockbroker. And someone said, oh, they just call people on the phone. I'm like, no. I didn't believe it. Like, don't they call them and go see them and get big money? You got to go. They're like, no, they just call on the phone all day. And when I walked into the boardroom for the first time and saw it happening, I was like, holy fucking shit.
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe it.
Jill, sales secrets from the top 1%, where the world's best sales experts share their secrets to sales success. 4-time best-selling sales author, selling again, from home economics to Xerox, to the product launch, to the sales tech, to Medtronic consulting, to running, selling to big companies, and now Jill Conrath. If you had to go back in time and give yourself one sales secret, if you hired someone, you could only give them one piece of advice, one sales secret, the secret sauce to sales success, what would that be?
Be a learner.
Be a learner.
Be a learner. Be open to learning from everybody around you. It's not about you and it's not about studying your own stuff. If you learn from people, you'll find out what it takes. And if you keep yourself in a learning mode, you will constantly be adjusting to the changing market, and you will be ahead of everybody else because you're studying, what difference you can make. You're studying your marketplace and your segment and what's important to your customers. You're studying what's happening in the economy and what difference that would make. You're studying the impact of mergers and acquisitions on your customers' technology stack. I mean, if you start throwing yourself into the learner part, and you'll become an invaluable asset, and you'll be really good at what you do. So to me, the essence of this is to stay on top of the game. I mean, to not get complacent. I mean, I got complacent once. Boy, don't put all my eggs in one basket, I mean, I said that earlier. You get complacent and have just a couple clients, and even though they're feeding you well, you can be wiped out in short order. But if you're constantly growing and on the edge and trying new things and working with different things, you will be desirable to your prospects. They'll want to work with you. They'll want to talk with you to see what you think about. They'll want to find out how they can help their business, grow or reduce costs or whatever it is, because you bring them ideas.
So you're selling these $8,000 to $10,000 machines, business to business. Was this like knocking on door to door, or like how would you sell it?
100% door to door business.
I love door to door badass salespeople, because I think that's like, you gotta be like the strongest, the hardest, the best, like to go door to door and get, shut down face to face. I don't know. It's like, dude, you just gotta have a lot of courage, a lot of confidence, and people don't have to do that anymore by just shooting an email or making a cold call or dropping a LinkedIn message. Like, that shit's so easy. Like, dude, go outside in the winter, put on a coat, your ear muffins, and go knock door to door. How many doors would you knock a day?
Dude, I mean, in my prime, I would push the limits pretty hard. So you could find me in a day, I could do about 40 to 50 in-person cold calls that had substance behind them. So I could walk out of that day and say that I found 10 prospective clients that were going to buy within this time frame, and then I could say that all 50 were somebody that I was going to go after at some point in time, right? So I cold called with massive amounts of intentionality always. I never did anything just to do it. I always had a reason behind why I was in the field. I had a reason behind why it's Friday and why I'm door knocking, or why it's Thursday and why I'm calling on the phones. I was very, very, very laser focused.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. What was your biggest takeaway when you looked
The
back
biggest
on
takeaway was really understanding that if you want to master anything in sales, whether it's cold calling, social selling, email, face-to-face, anything you need to do, you just need to do a lot of it. And it's something I take to now.
I love that. So smart.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's real. I started speaking 2 years ago now, and the first time I spoke, honestly, Brandon, I cannot tell you, my legs felt like they were shaking. But the scariest thing I ever done, and it was horrible. But I knew if I wanted to get good at it, I had to do loads of it. So I spent 2 years, as many free speaking opportunities as I could get to get on stage, to build the knowledge, confidence, and experience. And that's what I learned there was, I needed to graft at the calls, graft at the meetings to become an expert. And if you want to lead salespeople effectively, I don't know, it's a lot easier if you can say that you've done it or that you're still doing it, because otherwise you get that disconnect.
Yeah, dude, I love that. I love it. And when you say you were like, so would you write like a blog and design a meme every day? Like what do you mean I was working on it and I was graphing? What does that mean?
Yeah, no, so I was writing blogs every evening. I was creating, as many memes as I physically could and sharing them. And then the other big part of it was, because I'm creating content for the daily sales, and for me, I was growing two brands in essence. The daily sales has its own audience. It's the sales neutral brand, and then there's brand as social selling. So I'm creating two lots of content, but turning this into a business and finding partners and companies that could sort of advertise to the audience and generate revenue. It's not a big common thing in the industry. A lot of marketing, VPs and directors aren't used to that sort of thing. So it was, and I'd never sold advertising or anything like that. So again, a lot of learning through that process. And that was probably, the biggest part of it.
Wow. So, and then how would you come up with the ideas? You just like, if an idea hits you, you just write about it or design it. How did, and I love like I don't know how to say this, but my pipeline is quite a big deal. Like I just shared that one. I love that one. Like I literally just shared that like 2 days ago. I was dying. Where do you come up with these silly ideas for sales humor, man?
I don't know. I had someone. Do you know Daryl Prail, the CMO over at VanillaSoft?
Yeah.
Great guy, and I sent him a few memes because he had a debate coming up, and he said, "You're ridiculously good at making sales memes." And I said, "I know, it's the weirdest talent to have." I think it comes from a long career in sales and a genuine passion for sales, and just a genuine interest in, I don't know, pop culture, I guess. So I get these ideas from watching the film. I'm watching Anchorman, I see that bit, idea pops in my head. You know, I get ideas when I read books, when I listen to podcasts like yours, and I watch these videos. You know, there's ideas everywhere. I think and I do this when I do my talks and my training in social selling. I come from a traditional sales background. I come from a world without social media, and once you go into this world, you just see it everywhere. There's just content and inspiration
everywhere.